Vivian? Vivian?
Ah, Mr. Woodson. Good morning.
You all right? You seem a bit...
I'm absolutely fine. Just getting a breath of fresh air. That courtroom can be so stuffy.
How are you feeling about today?
Oh, perfectly confident. After yesterday, I can cope with anything. Shall we go in?
Vivian, wait. Remember what I told you about the defence lawyer. She's young, ambitious, and she will use every possible tactic to wrong-foot you.
I am aware of that.
Sarah aimed to utterly discredit your testimony, and she won't care how she does it. So take your time, don't panic, and don't let her rattle you.
Thank you for your concern, but I think I can handle it. I've come this far, and don't forget, I'm not just doing this for myself, I'm doing it for Mary. I'll see you after.
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to take long?
5 minutes tops. Need to get started, Heston. We've got patients waiting.
Of course, good morning all. Sorry to delay you, this won't take long. Julia and I would like to introduce you to an initiative that we think could put the mill on the map, not just locally, but also globally. Ruth, would you, Right, I'm sure you've all heard of Trelawney Wells, the drugs manufacturer. Well, they are developing a new drug that they believe could be a major breakthrough in asthma research this century. The precise details are on the fact sheet just handed out by my glamorous assistant. Suffice it to say, they are looking to begin phase 1 trials, and they have asked the mill to join them in this exciting venture.
What exactly does that mean, partnership?
Well, our role is simple. We will supply healthy volunteers from the student body via the campus surgery, liaise with Trelawney Wells regarding medical history and informed consent, and conduct ongoing tests and monitor the volunteers. Now, there will be some extra work, but I think it'll be worth it, as we will be key players in finding a cure for asthma in our time.
Right, so has anyone got any questions?
Yes, the lovely Melody.
Yeah, will we be monitoring and administering? Because that sounds like a pretty heavy workload.
And no, all administration will be handled by Trelawney Wells.
Our role is purely observational.
Well, that sounds fine to me.
Yeah, me too, no problem.
Can I go? I want to speak to Ronnie before he goes into court.
Yeah, just a couple of minutes, Jimmy. I want to get everybody's opinion. Yeah, Melody.
Is it ethical?
Of course.
Just because I presume that we'll be paying the students, and I don't know how I feel about taking advantage of their poverty.
Yeah, so if you look at the guidelines supplied by the MHRA, I think you'll find that everything is above board, Dr. Bell.
So much the lovely Melody.
Michelle?
Well, it's just going to be me and Archie carrying this, as always, isn't it?
No. The work will all be handled evenly.
You're right.
Now, I do know where you're coming from, but there are plenty of nursing staff to handle the trials. OK, now we need to wrap this up, so can I take it that we're all positive about moving forward with the project?
Yep.
OK, good. Well, we'll move forward then. Thanks very much.
Ronnie, it's me. How's she doing?
Sorry, Bracken disaster. Have I missed much?
Well, the meeting is adjourned, but if you'd like to peruse the fact sheet.
Just read it thoroughly, George, and...
What? Tell me this is a joke.
Shall we talk about this in my office?
I don't understand. How could you forget? This is what you've been working towards for the last 4 years. You've already had 2 extensions.
I know, it slipped my mind. Could I get another extension, do you think?
OK, enough of this nonsense. You are one of the most exceptional students I've seen in my career. But now you're throwing it all away. You haven't shown me any work in weeks. You haven't asked for help, and now you're asking for a 3rd extension. Is there something going on that I should know about?
It's nothing. I've had some health concerns that have thrown me off a bit lately.
You realise this could jeopardise your doctorate. Now, what health concerns?
Just personal stuff.
Would you like to talk about it?
No, I need a bit more time.
You're wasting your potential, and I don't want to see that happen.
I'm really sorry, but I just don't care anymore. I'm late for work. I've got to go.
Lucy.
I cannot believe that you would agree to something like this, Julia.
It is a great opportunity for the mill.
What, to turn them into drug pushers?
I knew there would be some reasonable arguments against this idea, but I expected more than name-calling.
If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck.
George, I appreciate that you are hardly likely to be the most pro-pharmacology of the staff.
What's that supposed to mean? What, because I favour alternative remedies, that somehow implies I hate drugs? Would you like to have a look at my prescription records?
That won't be necessary.
George,
Look, GPs in general, and this practice in particular, should not be the middleman between drug companies and patients. Now, when their new little wonder drug has been tried and tested, I will be delighted to prescribe it. But until then, I want nothing to do with it.
Ultimately, this is a matter for the partners to decide.
Well, you see, I'm not a partner, but I have a say. Now, I've got patients to see. This argument is not over.
I did tell you she'd be a tough nut to crack.
Fortunately, I've always loved cracking nuts.
Miss March, may I remind you that you remain under oath from yesterday's testimony?
I understand, my lord.
Good morning, Miss March. I'm Lauren Jameson, counsel for the defence.
Good morning.
I'd like to begin by asking you a few personal questions. You live alone, do you not?
That's correct.
And you are not married?
No.
Have you ever been married?
No.
Any children?
Since I've never been married, logic would suggest that I have no children.
A simple yes or no will suffice. Do you have any close family or relatives?
No.
Do I take it then that you live alone by choice?
It isn't a choice. Things just worked out that way.
I understand that you gave up your job as a matron to care for your mother.
That's correct.
And how long did you care for her?
In total, 15 years.
15 years? That is a huge amount of a lifetime for a person to give up, wouldn't you say?
I don't regret my decision.
Do you regret anything about your life, Miss March?
Yes, of course. Everyone has regrets.
And would one of your recent regrets be your relationship with a Mr. Lionel Mead?
No, I don't regret my relationship with Mr. Mead.
But he did offer to marry you, did he not?
There were lots of things said between Mr. Mead and myself. But in the end, I decided it was best for both concerned that the past remained in the past.
You chose to end that relationship.
That's correct.
And how would you describe your life now?
I'm perfectly content.
You live alone, and the prime focus of your life is your work. Many people would find such a life very difficult.
It can be lonely sometimes.
Would you say that you were a lonely person, Miss March?
I would say that just because I live alone doesn't necessarily mean that I am lonely. Of course, from time to time, I can be lonely, but...
I'm sure that everyone here can understand that. Moving on.
Am I the only one who can see how unethical this is?
No, I can see the problems with it. I just wanted to...
Make me a cup of Lapsang Souchong. Excellent.
It's all right, Melody, I'll do it.
Oh, thank you, George. Glad to see there are no hard feelings.
No, not at all. It'll be my pleasure. Of course, you can never be sure what I put in it. Well, I'm pretty sure it's safe. Probably only 1 or 2 minor side effects, but you can trust me because I'm a doctor.
Marvellous sense of humour. But it'll take more than a few idle jokes to persuade me.
Like what? A sledgehammer?
Make an argument. Show me the evidence. Convince me with cogent research.
Cogent research? Bada bing.
I love people with a taste for the dramatic.
You say that you returned home to find 2 people in the process of burgling your house.
That's right.
And that one of them was carrying a knife?
Yes.
Can you describe the knife?
It was dark.
Was it a large knife? A penknife? Did it have a serrated edge?
I don't know.
Have you ever been threatened with a knife before?
No.
So this was an unusual event, one to stick in the memory?
Yes.
Is there anything about the knife you can remember?
It was a knife. I can't describe it.
I see. And can you describe what the 2 men were wearing?
Yes. Hoodies, jeans, trainers, I think.
Did you notice any patterns or logos on the clothing?
No, I don't remember.
Ms. March, you said in your testimony yesterday that you remembered every detail of the night of your attack.
I do.
Yet you are unable to remember what your attackers were wearing or what type of knife they used. Would you say that demonstrates a detailed memory?
I looked at their faces. That's what I remember, and I will never forget them until the day I die. I remember their faces vividly.
I see. Ms. March, is it true that you attended an ID parade on the 5th of August, where you were shown 9 men and were unable to pick anyone out of the lineup?
Yes.
And is it true that you are unable to pick out the defendant Lee Parker from that lineup?
Yes, but
someone with vivid recall who will never forget their faces until the day you die, does it not seem odd that you are unable to identify Lee Parker?
Of course, I'll help if I can, Dr. Woodson. Is it something specifically health-related?
Well, in a manner of speaking, yes. A year or so ago, I was interviewed by a PhD student of yours, Lucy Cho, for research toward her doctorate. She was basing her thesis on the ethics around mass-market human drugs tests, and I'm trying to win an argument.
Well, she still is.
Sorry?
Lucy's thesis is ongoing. She still hasn't presented it.
But when I met her, it was well over a year ago, and she was in the final stages. She was just a few weeks away from completion.
Well, something's gone very wrong in the meantime. I'm extremely worried about Lucy.
Ms. March?
Yes. I just...
Would you like me to repeat the question?
No.
Have you forgotten it already? That's hardly a sign of a good memory.
No, I haven't forgotten the question.
Ms. March, can you account for your inability to identify Lee Parker?
It was a very difficult time.
One that would have been made all the less difficult by simply pointing to the defendant and saying, "That's the man." Is it not the case that you did not identify anyone in that lineup because there was no attacker in that lineup?
At the time of the identity parade, I was in denial. I didn't want to accept what had happened to me. I was mortified, ashamed. I didn't want anybody to know. I didn't wish to believe it myself. Then, when I was confronted with the men that were responsible, I just...
Miss March, would you like a break?
No, I would like to carry on. I just...
We will adjourn for a short break. 15 minutes.
All rise.
In what way was her behaviour erratic?
Well, she has mood swings, and she was always pristine in her appearance, but now she looks awful. I don't think she's sleeping properly.
You couldn't tell me how I could get a hold of her, could you?
You okay?
I am now, thank you.
I know it's tough going, but I think you're doing really well.
Oh, I can't believe I was so stupid. I knew she would ask me about the ID parade, but I shouldn't have let her draw me out. And how did she know about Lionel? And how can that possibly be relevant?
Well, it isn't. I don't know why the judge didn't pull her up on that. She's obviously trying to give the jury a particular impression of you. She's just going about it in a rather harsh way.
I've got the measure of her now. Whatever she throws at me, I'll be able to cope.
Lucy? Dr. Woodson, we met about a year ago.
Dr. Woodson, of course. Hi.
How are you? How's the PhD going?
I'm fine, nearly finished.
You all right?
It's just a headache.
Oh, do you need some painkillers?
I've got some, thanks.
You been getting them for long?
A while. I think it's stress. I went to the campus surgery last year. They said there's nothing physically wrong and the painkillers really work. It's just, when they wear off. Anyway, I should take your order.
Well, no, I didn't actually come here to eat. I came here to see you.
Why?
Well, I'm having an argument with a colleague at work, and it's right up your street. He wants the mill to get involved in procuring students for human drugs trials, and
That's outrageous. As long as drug companies think it's okay to entice people to sell their bodies to test drugs, then nothing will ever move forwards. It's basically prostitution.
And that's why I came to find you. Is there any chance you'd come by the mill later and help me win my argument?
I don't think that would be a good idea. I'm actually thinking of dropping out of my doctorate.
Oh, please, you'd be doing me a huge favour. This guy is such a pompous know-it-all, and I hate to think of the mill getting involved in something like this.
OK, I'll come, but I can't promise he'll agree with me.
Brilliant. You're a lifesaver.
I better go. See you later.
See you later. Ruth, hi, it's George. Listen, could you dig out some patient files for me? Yeah, Lucy Cho.
Miss March, you finally came forward to the police and made your allegations after the attack on Mrs. Mary Lambton was reported in the press. Is that correct?
Yes.
And this was how long after the alleged attack on yourself?
2 months.
Why did it take you so long to contact the police?
As I said before, I realised with hindsight I was in denial about what had happened to me.
And this denial, as you call it, was resolved by seeing the press reports of the attack on Mrs. Lambton?
Yes.
Rather convenient timing, wouldn't you say?
No, I wouldn't.
The 2 months between the alleged attack on yourself and you coming forward to the police means there's no physical evidence whatsoever to corroborate your story. Do you not agree that seems remarkably convenient timing?
I cannot comment on the timing one way or another. I just felt that I had to do something.
Bearing in mind that you are under oath to tell the whole truth, Miss March. You haven't been raped at all, have you?
It looks like we took over the campus just in time. Listen, can you email those over to me?
I could. I could just hand them to you now.
Yes. I suppose that would save time, wouldn't it?
There we are. Another patient goes back to her life clutching a prescription for penicillin in her hot little hands. I suppose in your world, she'd just have to submit to leeches.
Well, in your world, we'd be paying her to experiment on her body without even knowing what the outcome was.
You say, Petito?
Mr. Jenkin!
Were you aware of the waves of sympathy and attention that Mrs. Lambton received?
I knew people were very upset about what happened to her.
The flowers from people that don't even know her, the cards and well wishes.
Yes.
And how did that make you feel?
I had enormous sympathy for her, of course.
And did you feel jealous?
Have you ever been raped, Miss Jameson?
Miss March, I must remind you, you were here to answer questions, not to ask them. Did it make you feel jealous? Miss March? Miss March?
Lucy, hi. Thanks for coming. Listen, do you want to come through and we can plan our attack?
Dr. Woodson, I only came to say sorry. I can't help you. I just don't think my thesis is any good and...
Oh, no, Lucy, you're wrong. Believe me.
I know you're just trying to make me feel better, but I can't focus on it anymore. The headaches are too much.
You see, it's funny that you should mention the headaches. So you started visiting the campus surgery about 1.5 years ago complaining of headaches. They prescribed a codeine-based painkiller with a repeat prescription every few months.
Yes, they really helped.
You see, I'm not sure that the doctors have been monitoring you properly. Both you and your medication should have been reviewed on a regular basis. So tell me, when you get a headache now, does 1 or 2 pills ease it?
Sometimes a few more, but...
Are you finding yourself zoning out, feeling dreamy, dazed?
Yes.
OK, well then I am delighted to tell you that I think your headaches are not stress-related.
Do I just need to change painkillers?
Not quite, no. I think you need to stop taking them.
I don't understand.
You see, I think you've become addicted to the codeine in the painkillers. So the headaches are actually a withdrawal from taking too many. So they ease when you take a pill,
but they return as soon as the effects wear off.
I'm a drug addict.
I came forward because it was the right thing to do.
But you must have received enormous sympathy and concern after you revealed you had been attacked.
Raped. I wasn't attacked, I was raped.
Have you received sympathy and concern?
People have been very kind.
And does that feel comforting?
It's nice to know that people care about you.
Because most of the time you are lonely and overlooked.
Yes. No. I sometimes...
You are a lonely woman, overlooked and ignored by life. And you wanted the attention and concern that making this accusation would bring. Is that not right?
Are you saying that I made this up?
Did you?
But that's preposterous. Why would somebody make something like that up?
Why don't you tell me, Miss March? Because what is preposterous is to put the defendants on trial without anything but the word of a fantasist as their accuser.
I am not a fantasist. I know I should have gone to the police after it happened, after I was attacked, but I couldn't.
Because you hadn't been attacked. That's the truth, isn't it?
No.
And you haven't embellished or exaggerated your story in any way.
That's the truth as I remember it.
As you remember it?
Yes.
We know that your memory is not as crystal clear as you claim it to be, do we not?
There may be things that I have not remembered clearly, but I am certain...
You acknowledged you may have misremembered?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure of anything, are you, Miss March?
Let her answer the question, Miss Jameson.
I am sure that I was raped. And that it was those two men who were responsible.
Thank you, Miss March. I have no further questions, my lord.
I'll talk to Professor Williamson, explain the situation.
There goes Dr. Woodson, letting a perfectly good guinea pig slip through her fingers.
Is that him?
Yes.
I'm already a guinea pig. I'm addicted to codeine.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Codeine is the most widely prescribed opiate in the world, and yet look how simple it is for a person to become addicted.
Well, I take your point, but this is actually the staff room.
What will you do when your drug company demands that you manipulate the data?
I'm afraid you really don't know what you're talking about.
In the course of my research, I've been threatened with lawsuits by 3 major drug companies, simply for suggesting that they should be utterly transparent about their research findings. And I know exactly why. Imagine you spend 10 years and millions of pounds working on a new drug. You get it through early-stage animal tests, and finally you get the go-ahead to test on humans. And one of them dies. Are you really going to throw all that work and money down the drain and go back to the drawing board? Or are you going to massage the figures and hope for the best?
Do you have evidence of this actually happening?
It's more common than anyone would care to admit. GPs should not participate in a process that puts lives at risk for the sake of profit. It's unethical and it's morally bankrupt. But don't listen to me. I'm just a drug addict.
I'll see you out.
Stuff and nonsense. Nothing but conspiracy theories and speculation.
No, I'm sorry, Heston, but she's right. I don't think we should have anything to do with these drug trials.
Come on, let's get you to reception, make you an appointment, get you off the codeine, and then you can finish your doctorate.
What about the withdrawal symptoms?
Well, we'll take them gradually. I'll guide you through it. You'll be fine.
I'm so grateful to you, Dr. Woodson.
Well, it was absolutely my pleasure, Dr. Cho.
Well, I've listened to your arguments and we're going to go over the trials as planned.
What about everything that Lucy's just said?
She's deluded, and so are you.
I'm deluded.
George, our entire profession is built on the lives of those people who push the boundaries of medicine. The proposed trials are ethically approved to the highest level, and those who participate will receive excellent care. Now, it is too easy to characterize the drug companies as the enemy, but without them, you and I would be working in the dark. Now, ultimately, this is a decision for the partners to decide, so whilst your objections are noted, I'm afraid they're overruled.
Fine, do whatever you want, but this will end in tears, and don't say I didn't warn you!
What happened?
I broke that vase thing.
How?
I'm sorry. Did your mother give us that?
No, I think it was from your mother.
She wouldn't give us something like that.
No, it's horrible. Why do you think I put it in your office?
Oh, I'm sorry, anyway.
What's wrong?
It's just been a long day.
Yeah, tell me about it.
They tore her apart, George.
Yeah, you said.
How do they do that? How can they accuse her of being sexually frustrated, a fantasist, when her pain is clear to see?
It's a system?
Yeah.
That you've worked all your adult
Yes.
life. Come to bed.
Now, I have a daughter.
And a wife. And a sister. And an aunt. And a mother. What are you going to do? Save the whole of womankind?
I just wanted to do something for her. I don't particularly like Vivian.
I'm going to try working with her.
Just.
Stinks, yes, I know. I love it that you still get angry about this. We do what we can.
Yeah.
What did Miss March tell you, Dr. Clay?
She said that the boy did it, and she told me that she'd been raped.
Gotcha, you conceited twat.
Miss Alexander.
Yes. Oh, I don't suppose a refuse collector could afford 3 wives.
Oh, we're not wives. None of us married him. I want it to be over and done with.
John Sargent has left Strictly. Find out why in an extended It Takes Two over on BBC 2 Scotland tonight at 6.